So today I'm happy to have the CEO and founder of FURE.cab, um, Ferraz. And Rudy, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on today.
So I might have just thrown a few people off when I said FURE.cab. I know that I believe, and we're going to get into it, it's FURE.cab Rideshare.
So yeah, it's Rideshare. The proper name is actually called Free. It was actually find the name free.com. And then when you actually go to the domain and then you ask, oh, are you wanting to sell it? They're like, no. So my wife suggested wordplay and we spelled it out one day on a dining table. And she came up with FUREE, free, like to pronounce it, and with the U silent. So I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea, but let's shorten it because 4 letters make sense. And plus they become lucrative and it's a lot easier for brand, for, printing and stuff like that. Yeah. So it ran. And then I started looking at trademarks and then all that. I was like, it's all available. Might as well.
So you call it free?
Free.
Okay, because I would have never
no, every investor said the same exact thing. Why you spell it this way? I was like, well, free. If you really pronounce it, it's free.
Yeah. Are you gonna are you gonna use the name FURE though?
No.
You're not even gonna kind of like commonly accept that because it's gonna be what people call it.
Oh yes. Yeah. No, I know that. It's like when Travis started Uber, it was just people looked at it like Uber, it's a German name. I don't know, and people had that insecurity about, why should I actually call it, Uber? But then through time, people came to accept that it's Uber, universally, when you say Uber, it's Uber. So for us, when we say free, people can look at it like that means free.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be fun to see the branding on that. I mean, I'm sure that with time, people will just start saying, they'll say, hey, call it FREE cab.
It's free.
Or somebody will be like, why does it say FURE? I don't know. But it'll be interesting for sure. I thought maybe you'd try and find a way to build at least, maybe you'll have to build in like it's not FURE, it's free kind of marketing slogan.
No, yeah. When we do the TV ads for radio and for TV, the branding will be there and explain to the people why we named it that way, the process and all that. I'll go into dig deeper into that with another episode. But yeah, for me, it made more sense because it symbolized what it means, because it's hard to look at a word and go free. Okay, I get it. And then once we start rolling out and then the brand starts getting its awareness, then people go, oh, okay, I get it now.
So what were you doing before this, or what my life background is crazy and it would take me days to get into all this.
Oh, I know your background.
Right. But so what's your background, just kind of like the last whatever amount of years to make sense of all this and where you're at?
In 2018, my brother started doing rideshare. And then he introduced it to me. I knew about rideshare for a long time, but I really follow into it because I was developing a payment service for a long time. But what got me into it is that he started it and then he's like, hey, you can do this on the weekends, make extra cash, and have fun at it. I was like, oh, all right. So I tried. And then what started this was one night we were out drinking. We had a couple of drinks. We spent our last couple of bucks cash that we had in our pocket to get drinks. And then my brother came to me and he said, hey, how are we going to get home? And I was like, well, I don't know. And then the question started free was, how can we get a free Uber ride? Pretty much, like when you're drunk and you're thinking these ideas, you're like, what can happen?
Yeah.
I pondered it for about 4 months, 6 months, and realized that advertising is the world that we live in now, and it made sense of connecting that marriage between advertising and rideshare.
Okay, so what market? I forgot to even ask you, what market are you in, or do you live in?
Technically, we're in advertising, but our sideline business is rideshare.
No, what What city? What market?
Oh, Philadelphia. We're doing Philadelphia in the next couple of months.
Okay.
And then pretty much we're going to be start rolling out other cities soon.
So that's what I was going to get at, is that you're targeting one city first.
Yeah, first.
Okay. Because I mean, I think that's the ones that I've seen roll out who have had the best chance at things have always done that. You know, it's like a few companies almost crept up to go into multiple states out of just that one city in Texas, Austin.
Yeah.
You know, we saw a couple of ride shares emerge out of there and why they ended and whatnot, all with different ways of handling it too. So there is long-term goals to be nationwide, but you're doing a focal point on Philadelphia to get that working. Obviously, you must think that you have enough connections, marketing, social media to get out there, to get the word out there, to get people using this, because any market, especially like a Philadelphia market, I'm from Michigan, you know, and I live in Denver. The size of the city, Philadelphia is probably bigger than Denver. We're at about 800,000. You guys are over 1 million. So, you know, it's how do you get those customers, those passengers who are so just used to pulling out their phone and at best checking against the two apps, but usually just they have one app or the other that they just blindly use, Lyft or Uber.
Yeah. What our go-to-market was pretty simple, word of mouth. Once we started, like when I was doing the rideshare piece with Uber and Lyft, and I was doing it for them, I would ask these questions to the drivers and to the riders, like, you know, what would change the industry? What would make the ride better, safer, so on and so forth. But when we looked at Philadelphia, it made more sense for us into Philadelphia, because one, it's similar to New York City and other major cities, LA, San Francisco, and so forth. But Philadelphia is a lot easier because the demographics we looked at were all there in that city, as opposed to New York City.
Well, plus in New York, you would have been under all the new regulations and House bills and everything. So that would have been a real horrible nightmare and a horrible way to start up during a pandemic with already 85 type legislation coming down on you. But so can we jump into some of the big questions, like user data, how you're going to pay the drivers, how you're going to bring on the customer base?
Sure.
I know those are pretty 3 loaded questions right there. Like with the user data, I mean handling of it, because we've been talking about this often lately on the YouTube channel and on the podcast, that there is a difference between selling data and shared data. Because sometimes there's not much, it's I always hate talking about this, but the shared data thing is it's going to be done anyway.
Yeah.
It's just done on a level. Selling data is a different thing, like what Trip Rides did. You know what I mean? And all the mistakes that they made along the way. So how is it, there's obviously there's no pyramid thing going on here. Trip's logo is even a pyramid, which just amazed me. But I mean, how is it going to work for the drivers? And there's no fees to them, or how does this platform work?
All right, so let me break it down for the drivers, and then we'll go into the riders. For the drivers, one, they're getting a salary. Advertisers are paying their salary. And two, they're going to get benefits. They're going to get everything. Like when they sign on the app, they'll get 2 options: you become an independent with benefits, getting 90% of the fare, or you become an employee with benefits and you get a salary and you get a zone. You work that zone, and if you do better, you get to the next zone and the other zones. It's set up in a way that it's to minimize having 50,000 drivers in one area, in one aspect. And the other aspect is the problem that drivers have now is not classification, but their rights, saying, hey, I want to be an independent. I want to turn it on, off whenever I want, but I still need to support my family, give them insurance, give them food, give them clothing, so on and so forth. So for us, it made more sense of they'll still be independent. They'll get, benefits and everything. But what makes us different from what Uber and everybody else is doing is the fare. I've talked to Brazilian riders and drivers, and all the drivers are telling us, like, listen, they're taking 40%, they're taking 60% of my fare. So for us, it made more sense of, we'll give you 90 because we know that it made more sense as opposed to, oh, we'll only give them 70 or we'll give them 60 and write it on paper and have a contract that way. Because in essence, when drivers sign up on Uber, they're pretty much saying Uber's dictating to them, like, listen, you're gonna come onto the platform, but we're gonna dictate how much you get paid.
Well, so I've done almost 30,000 rides, and when I was brought on, it was the same type of pay scales you're talking about. It was a split with Lyft. I went on Lyft first, 2014 or 2015. I think it was late 2014, but it was a 90-10 split. When I went on to Uber several months later, it was an 85-15 split. They were doing that same kind of model, and then they started moving away from it. Now it's so dynamic. One trip you have could be that they took 30%. The next one could be that they took 78. They're just paying you on the mile and the minute now. You know, I mean, like, I know Philadelphia's rates aren't much better than what they are here in Denver. They're pretty horrible. In fact, I think you're 5 cents above us. So that would mean that you're 63 cents a mile. And I think you're 9 or 10 cents a minute is what they get paid for Lyft and Uber drivers.
We're paying 90 cents a mile, 90 cents a minute. And on top of that, going night differential, we're paying them 55 cents a mile a minute at night. So from midnight until 6 in the morning, if you want to do the night shift, here's 55 extra cents. We're doing a night shift. Same thing.
Is there, how does because I've been a salaried employee too. How does the salaried part work? Because obviously you need a certain amount of hours. You need something from a salaried employee. I mean, I understand this too.
So like, if you drive, here's a schedule, pick your schedule. You know, if you want to do second shift, third shift, fourth shift, whatever shift you want to do, it's your schedule.
So like grabbing time blocks.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Yeah, pretty much.
So, and then they just have to come up to whatever you've metriced it at, like if it's 40 hours or whatever, they have to do 40 hours.
It's standard. Yeah, it's standard because of the Department of Labor.
Right.
More sense of saying, all right, you're going to be an employee. Here's 40 hours. Here's 5 hours of OT, maybe. You get it. Same thing with the benefits, so on and so forth. So on the employee side, they sign up as a regular driver. We do the background check, the whole thing on them, make sure that they're who they are, and so on and so forth. And then, you know, say, all right, now you're an employee. Here's some training. Here's the etiquette, road etiquette, so on and so forth. And then once they're done with that, now we put them on the road. We'll pair them up with an experienced driver if they're a new guy, or if they're an experienced driver, you know, we'll put them out on the road and they're off to go.
Mm-hmm. So this is where I guess it gets really big, is how is the rider side being handled? How is bringing them on being handled?
So for the riders, we did a lot of word of mouth, from me doing the cabs and then me actually going to events and doing flyers and stuff like that. But to go to market on that one was really easy, because a lot of people, once you tell them that the rides are free, they're like, I want to sign up. This is awesome. But from a rider standpoint, all we're asking is that they're watching a video in a cab on their way to the drop off. And between each ad, they're going to ask 3 questions. The first question is user generated or advertiser generated. The second question, same deal, but slightly different. It's almost like a gotcha, like, oh, you know, if you liked it, you know, what else do you like? Or was the ad funny, not funny? Then the third one is what a lot of our partners love, is the ability to buy that product on the spot while you're actually going to your drop off. So
through like QR codes, or what? How's that working?
So it's very similar to Amazon's one click.
Okay.
The button and it's already in their shopping cart, or it's already purchased and it's already being shipped to their house.
By the credit card they have on file with FURE.cab. Okay. So it's all advertiser paid rides.
Yeah, it's all advertising driven rides. All the advertisers are doing is asking you a bunch of questions on each ad, collecting that data, making a consensus decision on, do we change the ad? Do we make this ad national? Do we make it local? And then once they see those answers, then they can go on to the next ad, and so on and so forth. But it's not one advertiser, it's a bunch of advertisers.
Right. So how does that work against, like, if I need to go 5 miles to downtown, or I need to go 25 to the airport? Am I seeing, because I mean, like, I guess the airport
Yeah.
ride is worth more money.
Yeah.
So am I seeing ads the whole time? Or am I going through this the
It's
whole
really
time?
up to, it's your preference. We give you the rider the ability to say, I want to watch the whole ride, so it's all free. Or I want to watch only 5 minutes, where it's a 25-minute ride. I want to watch 5 minutes and get a discount.
Okay. Okay. So they can choose to say, I don't want to do this. I want to pay for it.
Yeah, they have the ability to pay for a ride too. It's just like on any other app, rideshare app. You pick your place that you want to get picked up. You pick your drop off. You pick how much you want to pay, or if you don't want to pay, you want to watch the ads, and that's it. And you watch the guy come to your house, pick you up, and then same formality of getting into the car, buckle up, watch the ads, critique, and you're good.
So are you going to be doing any like rooftop Rapify type stuff around the car, any of this? I mean,
yeah, it's already in the works. We're working with a couple of providers on doing the rooftop stuff, and then we're also working with a couple of wrap companies, national wrap companies, to start doing the cars.
So is that a requirement of the drivers, or is that
No,
pays
the
you
cool
more
thing
if
about
you
it,
go this extra mile?
yeah, so if you go the extra mile, we'll actually pay for you.
Okay.
Yeah, if you wanted to put the sticker, the decal on your car, here's an extra $100 a month, or here's an extra $200 a month, wherever the case may be. Whoever advertises providing that ad, they're paying us a small little 10% fee. The rest is going to the driver.
And what prevents the driver from getting his car Rapfied and saying, yeah, I want to go that route, and then saying, I quit?
It's all on him. It's, if he wants to take the wrap off, it's all on him. Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'm just saying, because those wraps can get expensive, and driver
yeah.
churn rate can be kind of high
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. But the wraps are not, it's not a fully wrapped car.
It's like a decal on the door.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're placed in certain positions that makes them unique, and they're easy to pull up too.
Nice. Okay, so we've got how all that part is covered, but I still have to go back to, how do you bring the masses of customers?
Word of mouth. A lot of it up to now, we have roughly about 100,000 people signed up on the app itself on wait list. Now it's just doing shows like this, going out to the public, going out to TV. Hopefully, not going to say it now, but hopefully soon we're probably going to go on GMA, Good Morning America, and talk about, what we're doing, why we're doing it, so on and so forth. That exposure will bring us to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm surprised that, I mean, is the website fully up now?
No, not yet.
I know you're close. I know you're close.
Yeah. Everybody, I get a lot of investors all the time. You're fundraising without a website. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I laugh because this was a culmination of 4 years to 5 years to build this company. So I wanted to make sure I was crossing my T's, dotting my I's, looking at the legal framework. What can we do? What we cannot do? Because America, we have 50 states, so you have 50 different laws in every single book. So I wanted to make sure that we're doing this right. So privacy was a big concern when we did this, because I knew the press will get crazy about this. I knew the public will get crazy about this. And to remove that problem altogether is, when you come on a platform, we're just asking questions. We're not selling your data per se on the platform. It's just you asking those questions, and that's it.
So do you have a building database of customers so far?
Yeah.
So, and is there going to be any kind of unique functionality, like favorite a driver, or?
Yeah, so we're doing something similar with the star program. So for instance, you get a 5-star driver, or you get a 1-star driver. We'll have a similar setup like that. The only difference is that it's hard to show. It's kind of crazy, because I seen this tweet the other day where Uber said that they're going to show people who have 1 stars to the riders. And to me, alarmed, that's alarming, because one is that if a driver lives in a small town, and let's say it's less than 1,000 people, and that guy's not liked, they're going to hunt him down and hurt him, because how dare him give me 1 star when, his service is not the greatest.
Yeah. That's the same thing I thought too. I thought, gosh, what if they actually gave this privilege to the drivers? And I was thinking outside the box on that one, and I was thinking, man, there
Holy
would be some
cow.
really sorry customers out
Yeah.
there. So
Sorry,
it's like
customers, and a
it's
lot
one
of
of those
lawsuits.
things that Uber does where they give a privilege to one side or the other, and they test market it like it's, without test marketing it. They're just like, let it go live. It's like, dude, you're putting people in danger. You're like,
Yeah. Like today, Lyft put out a thing for the bicycle, the white bicycle.
uh-huh.
Everybody and their mom knows that the white bicycle on the side of the road means that someone died there. So Lyft put out these bikes in San Francisco, all white. And I can imagine people cruising down the road going, oh, another person died here. Another person died here with a white bike on the corner, and it's a Lyft bike. So it's hard to, it's like do the research before you do, put product out there and then go, all right, we got to pull this back because it doesn't make sense. The community is saying no because of X, Y, and Z. So it's crazy.
So when is the launch date for the Philadelphia market or the Target?
Officially, it's going to be in July.
Okay.
We're looking the 4th of July weekend because we know that once we launch that day, we know how the market's going to react. And then we know the next steps of going outside of Philadelphia, start going into the counties and so forth. Because we're doing this on a month-by-month basis.
Are you going to do like a soft launch first for like a month of like people and everybody see how it works?
We're doing a beta. The mayor wants to see it. Everybody in Philadelphia wants to see it because they see it all the time. So they're like, what's this all about? They ask even people that I haven't seen or met. They're like, you're the who's on Uber and talking about what the hell's going on? Like, when's this thing start? And so on and so forth, which is really cool.
Yeah.
The soft launch is going to be in July. It's going to be a beta. We're doing close to about 500 drivers and close to about 10,000 riders. They'll get an email in their inbox saying, hey, you've been selected. Try it out, download the app at this location, and then we'll do the beta testing for about 30 days to 60 days. Once beta is done, then we go live in the city. Then we can show the data to the city and the commissioners and all that, saying, this is what we found, this is what we've done, and this is where we're going.
And without having to name any names, the advertising companies behind this are big enough to know that it's going to have a slow start.
Yes.
Because you know what I mean. I mean, it's going to.
Yeah, because one of the first questions is like, how can you prove this is actually going to work? Well, we've done a couple of betas already. I've done, me, my brother, and a few other people, small betas between us. Just me, my brother, I'll be the rider, my brother be the driver. We'll actually go, pick me up at the airport, and let's see how this works. So pick me up at the mall, and let's see how this works. When we did our first initial runs, it was pretty good. There was a couple of hiccups here and there, but overall, once we get to the beta, people will see that, it'll be seamless.
Is it the same format as Uber and Lyft with closest to the pin gets the call, or is it a round robin type thing?
Both. So there's two things that we're rolling out. One, it's called hunting, meaning that you're in the car, apps on, and you're just cruising around the neighborhood looking for rides.
Okay.
There's another thing that we're doing that's called waiting, parked and wait, meaning that you'll sit in a corner, and if you're the only ride or driver in that area, and let's say in a 5-block radius, any rides that come in is going to you. And that's it.
Right. So, I mean, yeah. So, the salary people, it seems like they're going to obviously get the rides first.
Yes, well, it depends because not everybody's going to say, if we have 5 guys during night and there's 1,000 rides being opted out there, it's not going to be a free for all, but it's me like, hey, listen, you know what? Since you're here already, take it. If you're not, if you're not driving, you're not driving. But if you are driving in the area, take it. If there is an independent that's in the area, they'll take it too.
That's pretty, I got to say, man, you've filled your plate up huge. I mean, taking on independent contractors, taking on W-2 employees, taking on, I mean, it's going to get crazy.
It's set up in a way that advertisers want to make sure that we have rides always out there. They're paying for this.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you're going to get branded is by having cars everywhere.
Yeah. And then number 2 is the independents, because they're turning it on and off all the time. for them, it made more sense of, all right, if you're gonna ride, here's an area that you can work and it's gonna be yours until someone else shows up.
Okay.
It equals both sides of the spectrum. So your independents have their share of the market, and our guys also have their share of the market as well.
Yeah, I know that you just need to optimize the salaried people's time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So out of curiosity, can I ask what a starting salary might look like?
Every person that joins the company starts at $75,000
for 40 hours a week.
40 hours a week.
That's not bad. For any time off, any weeks off.
Yeah. PTO, family leave, the whole line, benefits. We're trying to set it up in a way that you join.
I mean, I wouldn't expect you to have like a paid vacation.
No, not yet.
But I would expect you to allow a 2-week vacation.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Doing a lot of standard stuff for employees. But, and, you know, anyone that signs up to become an employee, their starting salary is 75. If you want to be a driver, it's 75. And then depending on the kind of car you have, if you have an Escalade or if you have a SUV, the salary gets a little higher because of the cost of owning that vehicle.
Okay.
If you have a Hyundai, it'll still be $75,000, but it's really up to you now. You know, all right, cool. I got more money in the bank. I got more food on the table. Should I upgrade the car to get a bigger car to make more money? You know, it's really up to them if they.
So the insurance, everything is still on them. There's not like a policy like I'm, you know, recently
for independents.
Well,
yeah,
no, for either really, but like Buckle Insurance is somebody I'm really impressed with because they're working with only gig companies. This is what they're doing. Yep. In fact, you know, if you'd listen to the podcast, you probably heard it, but I think there's a ton of benefits there, and it's meant for people with credit scores who have been dinged a little bit, who fall underneath that. They said that, you know, but I thought it was pretty interesting the way he put it to me. If you fall under 680 in your credit score, which he said most, like 90% of
most Americans do. Yeah.
So he said, you know, you're not gonna get a better deal out there than Buckle. He said, if you go above 680, there's probably a bunch of better deals for you. Mm-hmm. So it sounded to me like they're really doing something very unique as well, like tailoring this to the people who work this job, who have dinged credit, and they can even help you buy a car and then, you know, reestablish your credit. So they have a lot of ways of helping you work. But are you gonna do anything to help them into an insurance policy that's more FURE.cab or FURE.cab?
Yeah.
You know, they kind of like.
I'm not gonna do it now,
but
yeah, I'll give you a sneak peek. It's pretty much, it's a group policy for independents and also for employees. So a group policy meaning that we'll put in X amount of dollars into the policy, and then the drivers themselves will put in a certain amount in the policy as well. So everybody will get a card under our policy, but they're putting into that pot. So it's not like, oh, I'm paying $200 a month for insurance. It's like, no, we can get a group policy, insure everybody, and everybody puts a little bit into that pot. So the rates are a lot lower.
So what about those people who have 3 family cars who don't want to change their insurance? They do not want to change it.
They have that. Yeah, they get the option to opt out.
Okay. But I mean, it would just be, there's no compensation coming to those people on the insurance side if they opt out.
Yeah.
I mean, I would expect that. But so Philadelphia, then outer Philadelphia markets, are you planning on, because one thing so far that's really cool too, aside from all the ways that you're approaching this whole thing, is that you're on the East Coast. All the startups I know are from Austin, Texas, or they're on the West Coast. Like you're the first one kind of emerging out of the East Coast, except for some of the elementary school kids rideshare companies that I've seen are just nightmares because they have insurance problems so bad. And you know, but I mean, you're kind of the only like real rideshare company I've seen coming out of the East Coast.
Yeah. The investors asked us to actually come to San Francisco and start up there. And 1, I have family. 2, I've been there a bunch of times. That I love San Francisco, but to have a family out there in the condition that it is now.
Yeah. Well, even that too. I mean, you know, I think I don't know. In my opinion, I deal with a lot of those people all the time. And I think we're past the point of San Francisco needing to be the city.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's those days are done. Everybody's in San Francisco, unless you're doing something weird like autonomous or something like so far out there that your insurance bill is almost putting you out of business.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't. It's not
Doesn't
really.
doesn't make sense.
It's not the
Yeah.
mecca of tech anymore. It doesn't need to be. I mean, people are leaving California in the droves right now.
Oh yeah.
And they
Well,
don't even want to be there. So
yeah, that's a whole nother podcast in itself.
right, but a lot of the tech companies are packing up and leaving too.
Yeah.
You know,
They're either coming to Miami or they're going to Austin or they're going to New York City.
Yeah.
But yeah, for us, the reason I want to stay here because I love PA. Plus, I'm originally from New York, raised in New York City, originally from Brazil. Parents came here, at a young age. I was a little rugrat running around, and then had the American dream of, hey, I want to build something in America, and did it. And then said, all right, we're going to move to Pennsylvania and make a family. And we did that, and then realized that I love the state. So it made more sense of staying here as opposed to, hey, come to San Francisco. We'll give you $500 million. You can do it out here.
Right.
I'm like, great and dandy, but when you have family and, like Gary Tan says, it's like the city will come back, but it needs time. And the time that I have now to build this, I don't have that. I want to build this now because the problem's too big not to get solved.
So I know that you want to expand from the Philadelphia area, but do you have a trajectory? Are you going for DC next? Are you going for
you're good.
Because I know you got to stay away from some states. You got to stay away from Jersey a bit because of their legislation. You got to stay away from New York for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to
New
see
York
how
won't
things
give us a
shake
license.
out.
Yeah, New York's they told us that we won't get a license probably for another year or two.
Right.
I was like, why? And the attorney told us is because, one, there's too many cars out there. They don't want to have another rideshare company doing this and then having another 30,000, 40,000 cars. I mean, I can sue them to give us the permit, but it doesn't make sense.
But yeah, I was going to say, but why? You need to watch the legislation come down first anyway, because they are making some serious changes there, just like New Jersey keeps trying to get shut down. So there must be a trajectory where you're trying to stay away from those AB5 Massachusetts H1, 2, 3, 4 type bill states.
Yes and no. I don't mind competing head on because at the end of the day, it's a service that the people are going to want. They're going to ask for it. They're going to go to their elected officials. Like, how come they can't come here?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're giving us free rides. They're helping the community get free rides to poor individuals or to needy individuals. That community needs free rides. They can't go to work. So eventually the market's going to go, well, we might as well bring them here because they are giving free rides. It's on their dime.
So I'm guessing the devices are all supplied, like tablets are supplied by you for the drivers?
No. So that's another myth that a lot of investors think. They think that because Uber's doing that now. Uber actually has it on the headrest.
Yeah.
But it's not on the headrest. It's actually on their phone.
Okay.
So
okay. So they don't need one in the car.
No, not at all. Which is really cool.
Oh, so
you're good. You're good.
That's why they're able to buy the thing too. That's what I was wondering with the touch screen. I was like, even if it's their ride and their account with the credit card, I was like, how's that going to tie in? But okay, so they're doing it from their phone.
Do it from their phone. Yeah.
Right. And I'm guessing that as each ad goes by, there's a chance to pay a little bit, but it keeps turning into a little less.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that, I would probably choose to just watch them, because usually on a rideshare ride on board anyway. So
yeah. Which is really funny because when you drive and you look in the mirror and then you see these, folks in the back seat, they're like, like what's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on in the news? So for us, it made more sense of we can add entertainment in their ride, just watch a bunch of ads, give us the critiques, and your ride's pretty much free. Then the other question that a lot of people ask is really funny is like, how do you know I'm watching the ads? Well, we developed an AI that looks at your eyes and knows through a little square box in front of the screen that if you're actually looking at the ads and how long.
What about the volume?
Same thing. So we'll know because it won't force you to turn on or turn off the volume. The volume is going to be there if you have your headset on or the phone speaker will be on.
Right.
have the volume there.
So the driver's going to constantly hear this too on speakerphone a lot.
Well, if they have, yeah. I mean, it's funny you say that because we had a couple of drivers say the same thing. I was like, oh, great, we're going to be listening to ads all day. I'm like, well, some are actually funny. Some are actually really funny.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. A bunch of drivers said that. They're like, dude, we're going to be listening to that. Like, that's part of the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just part. I mean, it's the same thing as being at work and having to listen to what they choose to listen to at work. At a W-2, you don't necessarily get to go and decide what that is. It might be elevator music all day. And
you peek over the cube and say, Joe, can you put something else on, please? That same station is not the greatest.
So July in Philadelphia is the target date. What else? So what else, before we wrap anything up here, what else should we know about FURE.cab? Gosh, I'm going to keep having a problem saying FURE.cab and looking at the word FURE.
Once we launch, once you'll see the big debut, the name FURE will stick. People are gonna look at it like, yeah, it's free. But the thing that we're doing now is fundraising. Cyan Bannister, let me give you a brief little story on how that. She put a tweet out. She was doing an event in Reno. I tweeted back and I was like, hey, I'll come. She DM'd me back privately. And I was like, oh, all right, it's actually her. I'm actually cool. So she invited me to come over. I went. Pretty much that day, I pitched her FURE.cab and showed her the video app, how the app works and all that, and literally like, all right, 100,000. Like, what? 100,000? Someone finally said yes. Awesome. So she was excited. She realized the potential of this. We talked a lot in the cab ride, but for her, she's like, this is going to change the industry completely. What you're doing is really, really interesting.
It is awesome. Really interesting. I mean, this is pretty amazing. I guess it's just, I'm thinking of it, if it were me doing what you're doing, I would make, and I'm sure you're doing the same things, I would make sure to be lining up marketing companies that have lined pockets for a long time, and not just to take their money, but because they understand how things work. They understand how a long-term project like this will take.
I'll say this. There's one particular sneaker company that loves us.
And it's not Nike.
No, but it's one particular sneaker company that actually loves us because they realize, one, it's new tech. Two, when we showed her the data points, her first answer was like, can we actually communicate with them? It was like, yeah, you can actually put answers together and watch them in real time, answer those questions to your ads. Her eyes were like, wait, hold on a second. We're actually getting data from outdoor advertising. And after that, she was like, where you looking, how much you want, we have an investment arm. You can talk to these guys too, they'll probably invest too. So
I didn't even think of that. Did you even look down that avenue of potentially having it be able to like FaceTime with some companies for a survey?
Oh, you see, all right, now you want the good stuff. I know what you all right, so we're gonna do a thing with TikTok, and what it is, it's TikTok videos, just like you swipe them down, but it's for cab rides. So you can be watching TikTok video ads, and you're gonna be going to your ride and just literally swipe through like TikTok ads. TikTok ads.
Right. No, I was talking about where like a company could come and like have a one-on-one with me while I'm in the ride and say, hey, listen, I have a few questions for you.
That's not a bad idea. Like, sort of like a live customer support thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Where they actually get to pick get the real questions out of somebody and watch their expression.
Yeah.
I mean, how is this being, because those kind of departments know how to read that stuff.
Yeah.
And so
it's hard because one, in a lot of states, there's privacy laws.
Yeah, you have to have the
more of
asking
yeah. Okay. It's more of asking the rider, like, listen, they want to see your interactions, they want to see your video. Would you give them consent? Would you allow them? There's a lot of legal frameworks to get that squared out, make that work.
Yeah, I would just think that might be some like, I was trying to think of what like the superior level would be like, maybe if they, kind of like how my Robinhood account is. Like if I refer somebody and they start trading some crypto, I get
Yeah.
like, I don't get to pick it, but I get a few shares of some crypto that I don't even know
Yeah.
about, or of some stock, something like that, where it's like, not only are you getting the free ride, but you're getting $10 of stock from, or a Visa card, because this company would love to pick your brain on it, but it needs to be like a ride of over 15 minutes, and you're gonna have to give
Yeah.
them a real
Yeah.
true
Yeah. Yeah.
survey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
a lot of airport rides are like that. A lot of the airport rides,
Exactly.
minutes, 30 minutes long. I could see that happening. To pick a customer's
It
brain.
would be like your exclusive, it would be like your biggest funder,
Mhm.
your biggest backer, your big, like that would be the client you'd propose that to. Like, hey, if the ride's gonna be 15 minutes plus, do you want the opportunity to have a customer service agent? I
Yeah.
don't know. I would think that would
Yeah.
be maybe a pretty, I know how much, like you were saying, how much they really want the data. They really would love the data of like real FaceTime, because they've
Yeah.
lost
Group.
that.
Yeah.
They've lost that in the past couple of years. They never really had it great, but they've lost it with the pandemic. They have no
Yeah.
idea what a face-to-face is like anymore.
No. No. I mean, we're on Zoom.
Right.
Everybody's been on Zoom for the last 2 years.
Right. But I mean, like, there, in the last 2 years, there wasn't even the trickle down stuff they were getting. This would be direct
Yeah.
contact with people again during a
One on
time
one.
when we're all in change. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited by the idea. My main things are, that I only, I love promoting good things. And I just, as long as user data isn't being sold, and as long as the gig workers are being treated fairly, I'm always good. I'm always up for anybody competing with everybody.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and
mean,
you
at
got,
the end of the day,
and
it's
you
like
guys are
when
doing
you,
something totally different is really what
yeah,
it's
because
about too.
because at the end of the day, I mean, being a driver and a rider, you're on both sides of the fence. You see what's going on. You see who's getting charged what and how much they are charging. You see what's going on with the drivers. And then you get to a point in life, well, this has to change because either the industry is going to destroy, it's going to implode, because you get to the point where drivers are like, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm done.
Right.
Or you're going to have the same thing with the riders. The riders are like, you know, last week it's $10, this week it's 20. Like, what's going on here? And it's little by little. When I talk to people in the industry, they're like, yeah, this has to change because it's not going to last long.
Right. And, I mean, like, yeah, if you guys were here, and, it's something I can sign up for, and I can just, I can get free rides by watching some stuff. With the craziness that's going on with the other apps pricing, I mean, people are trying to jump back and forth, but I don't even know how much they're doing that anymore. I think that the dedicated Uber riders or the dedicated Lyft riders used to jump back and forth or price compare. Now they're just like, look, I'm going to get screwed on the pricing regardless. So I'm just going to stick with what I know. I'm just going to use Lyft. And they just blindly open it and summon one without even looking at the price. I've talked about this a few times with people that, till days before the pandemic, we watched them race to the bottom, cutting a penny off the other. Lyft, Uber, just constantly. And then through the pandemic, just left everything the same. But then now they're like 300% plus in some markets.
Yeah. Which is
And
why,
people aren't even blinking. So they never
no.
wanted to raise the price the whole 10 years, 11, 12 years that rideshare has been out in the country. And now they're raising it 300%. It's
Mind blowing.
it's like, you guys knew you could have done this way back. Why did you never raise the prices then? And why are the drivers not included in the model? And I don't know. Harry and I often have conversations, the rideshare guy and we often have conversations about going back and forth about, he's like, I've said before a bunch that, eventually there won't be drivers that they would have gone through them all. And then, so I've said that to him, and he's like, yeah, I've said that a bunch, but it never holds true. I'm like, but I think this time it might. I think drivers are fed up, and I think that the churn rate is getting so much higher that you're not going to ever get drivers to come back that have left.
No.
They're never going to say, unless you do something big, they're never going to say, oh, what are you paying now? Half of what I was making when I quit? No, I'm not going to come back. You know
Just
what
to
I
give you
mean?
an idea, half of the Lyft drivers in Philadelphia signed up. A
Right.
quarter of the Uber drivers in Philadelphia signed up with us.
Wow. So
A
how did
lot
how did
of,
you
you
get the
know, because
word
I
out to
asked
them?
them, what's that?
How did you get the word out to that many? Because that's got to be a huge pool of drivers.
Yeah, well, it's just going to events and then actually going to the airports and going to the queues and saying, "Hey, here's a pamphlet or here's a flyer." I give it to them. I pitch them what I'm doing, and
Mhm.
like they scan the QR code and they're literally signing up right in front of me while I'm talking to them. Like, so how do I do it? You know, like I'm in. I love this. It's a great idea. It's the same thing with the riders. The riders like, here's my business card. Here's the QR code. Scan it, sign up, and then once we launch, you're in.
Right. Yeah. This is everything sounds great. And it sounds like there's all kinds of room for other earnings to maybe potentially creep their way into. I can already see it, like
Yeah.
how, and that would apply to hopefully the drivers as well. But yeah, I mean, if this is a funded project, and if as long as the companies are happy with the data they're receiving back from people watching this, yeah. So I was trying to see if we're down the road, if maybe there'd be what the scenario might be where the money dried up, but it would never in a way do that as long as you kept, yeah, as long as you kept your investors happy and as long as they were getting their feedback from the drivers
Yeah.
or from the
That's all
riders.
the
I mean,
advertisers want at the end of the day is
data.
show me if they're responding. Yeah, show me if they're responding. Number one. Number two,
Mhm.
that data. As long as they're answering the questions and they're looking at the videos, advertisers are like, because you have to understand, Steve. Outdoor advertising is an animal unto itself because that's the market that we're initially going after.
For
The
sure.
problem with advertising is that static billboards are not technology savvy to go say, "Hey, let's turn a light on because it's dark outside or it's snowing." Where we're bringing outdoor advertising to your phone because we're going to ask those questions. Does this ad make sense to you? Will you buy this product? And when we show that to advertisers, they're like, we actually get concrete data live, number one, from those users saying, "Hey, we like the ad. We buy this. I'll show this to my friends." Or, we'll buy 100 of these because it's good for business, so on and so forth.
Right.
Advertisers want that data to them.
Right.
For the riding public goes, "Well, all I gotta do is answer a couple questions and that's it. And the ride's free."
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, and you're right. Word of mouth is gonna blow up once you guys go. So I am gonna hit you. The last question I'm gonna give you then, we already touched on, is that when does the website go live?
All right. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm trying. All right. So I'm doing a podcast just like you. I finally had the motivation to do it.
Awesome.
Gary Tan, if nobody knows, is an investor at Initialized Capital. He does a podcast. Watching him, watching you, watching Harry, and a bunch of other guys gave me, the cojones, so to speak, to do this. Because I'm a shy guy, I'm a quiet guy. I'm somewhat of a private guy. I am somewhat public now because of Twitter and all that. But besides that, I never thought podcasting would be a thing. But for me, it was just more of, all right, I'm doing this podcast. When is the website going to be finished? So hopefully the website will be finished by next week or the week after. 2 weeks at minimum. So hopefully, in 2 weeks, everybody, the whole world will see the website.
So by St. Patrick's Day.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I'll hit the start button. Start button.
Because if you guys go, it's FURE.cab, right?
FURE.cab, FURE.cab. People, the rider.
Everybody, I just said FURE.cab because that's how you'll spell it in your head. But yes, it's free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Free. It's everybody that they look, I'm like, no, it's free, but it's okay because once it's in the market, people will recognize the name and go free.
Yeah. But right now, if you get there, it's just a landing page.
Yeah. Now it's just a landing page. The website will come out in 2 weeks, hopefully. Once the website out, they'll see the video, they'll see the app, the video of the app itself.
Is there a YouTube channel with the video now?
Yeah. If you go to youtube.com/FURE.cab or FURE.cab, you go to the website and you'll see 1 or 2 videos. One of me like emotional about, we just did the REV, we just dropped it the other day, and then also about us, sort of like a video of why we're doing this, pretty much 3 segments of the rider, the driver, and why we're doing this. And that's pretty much about it. Other than that, site comes live, you'll see the app of the video itself, or a video of the app itself. Sorry. You actually see the app video, and then you'll actually see cool stuff for the drivers and cool stuff for riders that we're gonna be doing soon.
Awesome. This sounds great. So everybody, I'll put any of the links that you tell me are okay. I'll put in the show notes.
Okay, cool.
You know, I might leave the website one out, or I'll just say
they're gonna come anyway.
yeah, or I'll put it in there,
anyway.
but I'll put some kind of thing like, you know, website launches, you know, the 15th.
2 weeks. Yeah, the day before. You could put the day before St. Patty's Day.
Right. Yeah. So I'll just do something like that, because I don't, you know, I don't want people going to a static page and going, what is this? You know? But at the same time, I do want it getting out there because we have a lot of listeners and stuff. And so, you know, but I'll put, if it's okay with you, I'll put your social links too, because people should be subscribing, getting used to that. Especially if you're in the Philadelphia market, I mean, you should absolutely, if YouTube is your platform, if Facebook is your platform, if Twitter's your platform, you should be connecting with them. Yep. Because it sounds like, I mean, if I was in the Philadelphia market, I would want to be in on this from the beginning. I wouldn't want to wait and then you know, all of a sudden Rudy's having to like hold back a little bit and go, wait, we're not onboarding right now.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Which
all of a
funny
sudden
you say that, because
that.
Yeah, because when we started talking to drivers, it was really funny because with the drivers, they'll sign up on a spot because a lot of them, the older ones, kept on telling us, or kept on telling me, is like, I remember when Uber first started, there was nobody on the road. We were making millions every week. We were making millions. And then these guys, you know, and some of the women too, were like, I want to sign up too, because I want to be the first one on the road too.
Yeah. And I think that's how it'll go. I mean, if it were my business, I would just onboard to what I need. You know, that's where these come, the oversaturation, because if you find a couple drivers, you know, leave, you'll have tons of backup drivers who are ready.
Yeah.
And I like Grubhub. Grubhub's one of the ones that holds you up for a while. It says, oh yeah, you know, we can't onboard you yet in your market because there's too many people.
Too many drivers.
Great thing that they used to do. I mean, now they don't. Now I think they take everybody, but they used to do that for a while. And that was I didn't mind being on a Grubhub wait list. I would much rather be on a wait list than be onboarded and have no business.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather be told we don't have enough business, or we have enough drivers to support our business right now, but you're on a wait list. Yeah. That's okay with me. I'm fine with that. But that's what people don't want to miss out on with you guys. So before the website's out, if people are listening to this, can they get in contact and somehow let you know they're interested if they're in Philadelphia before the website goes?
Yeah, so if I'm not sure, but Steve, it's Rudy at FURE.cab is on the screen. Are the users going to see that?
No.
Oh, they're not. So yeah, just give them my email and they can email me directly. It's Rudy.
I mean, yeah. For the YouTube video, I can put it up there. I can have it. Yeah. But I mean, for the audio listeners, we just got to make sure that I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Cool.
So if they email you directly, they can start.
Yes.
They can start expressing interest, even though the website's not live to sign up and download the app or whatever. But they can email you directly and say, "Hey, I'm interested."
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll trust. They'll be like, "Hey, it's Rudy. What's going on? You want to go out for a drink? What's going on?"
All right. Well, I mean, it sounds awesome, Rudy, and I hope that we are going to be having you back on the podcast shortly after your launch.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to be part of that, and you know, and help you blow it up when you're live on the street. You know, I mean,
it's really, Steve. What makes me happy about this is watching the reactions from the riders when I show them the video and they play with the app. It tugs my heart, but it's just really interesting because to me, that confirms, one, people really like it. We did get a couple of people like, I don't know, you know, I don't want to sit in a cab ride for 5 minutes.
Of course you would. It wouldn't be a good sample size if you didn't.
Oh yeah, exactly. But for me, it made more sense because it's a problem that Travis created and he never really fixed it per se. Same thing with Green. You know, those two guys, bless my heart. I mean, these guys started really good, you know, all three of them started really good industries. But at the end of the day, you have drivers that are not a commodity. These are human beings that have lives, kids, you know, put food on the table, so on and so forth. You treat them with respect. You give them what they're due. Give them the pay that they need to actually survive. You'll have a happy community. The community now is not happy. The community that I'm building is going to be happy because as a driver and a rider, I want to give both of those communities what they need. One, for the riders, give them a free ride, get a laugh out of it. For the drivers, pay them, pay these guys because they're supporting you as a company, as a business, as an individual to grow as a community. And these guys have no community.
Yeah, and it's been such a, such a devastating blow to so many rideshare drivers that I know on all these cuts and stuff. Even the ones who are still in it, who are veteran, who know how to make money in these markets, are still like just bumming. If they were paid better, they'd be in a better mood. People ask all the time, well, why is the driver so pissy? He's pissy because he's being paid crap.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. I mean,
I know too, because listen, when you do a 40-mile ride and you only get $16.
Yeah.
And then you asked her, I was like, how much you paying for the ride? Just out of curiosity. She's like, oh, 62.
Right.
62.
Well, you can always see it too. You can always look up all of your rides.
Yeah. And then when I look at it, I'm like, $16 for what? Like, there's something wrong here, and then that pisses me off because you're like, they're ripping me off. They're taking food away from my family. So for me, that day with my brother made more sense of, hey, how can we get a free ride? I was like, well, I'm going to go on Mars, plant my flag and say, this is how we're going to run the community. This is how we're going to run the show. Because the way the industry is working now, don't make sense. Don't make sense if nobody.
I think that nobody can argue with that. So on that point, we will end this. And Rudy, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do with FURE.cab.
Will do.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.